name is Rachel. I've been an interpreter for, full-time freelance interpreter for about almost 8 years, which means I take jobs from several places in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. And before that, I was a staff interpreter at New England Homes for the Deaf in Massachusetts. So I've had, several years of looking for interpreters, finding interpreters, and being found, and how that referral process works. So I don't want to repeat what everyone said, but we all know how referral works well. And in my mind, how referral works well is that the people that are referring have a good frame of reference. LSS does not have that. So also, this is the first time in my experience, I'm sure there's other states, but in the 4 states that I'm aware of, that I've done work in, this is the first time I've ever had any interaction with an agency that did not have people in the referral department who were either deaf, family of deaf members, deaf family members, or been through an interpreter training program, or interpreters themselves. So most, for all of my knowledge has been that people know the community well before they start this job. So the language bank, as we all know, as we feel, don't have the competency to do the job that they're doing. So I just want to give you a few examples from the interpreter's perspective of what I've experienced. And I am contracted with LSS, or contracted, if that's the right word. I do take work from LSS, a little bit more lately, because I'm starting to feel like if I don't take it, who's going to take it? So I better take some. 1 minute? Oh, Lord. So anyway, I've heard several deaf people complain about interpreters that were placed in their appointments. Interpreters who showed up who were brand new baby interpreters showing up for a surgical consult. I've had a request come to me with the name of the individual in the request, which in the deaf community does not happen, because it's such a small community. We want to keep confidentiality top priority. So the request comes, and then we say, yes, I'm available, or I'm not available. We send it back. Then they let us know the name of the person and such. And the first time that happened, I emailed, and I went back and forth with a referral person and tried to explain why that doesn't happen. And, I was upset. The second time it happened, I called her boss, and we spoke for about an hour. And it was very upsetting, because that person, a person who was in the emergency room, the request came, and I thought, oh no, and it came through LSS, and I knew they could put anyone in there with this person. And I was so upset, and I called and I talked to Alan, and I tried to explain to him why I was so upset. He said, well, I'm so sorry, we won't do that again. I said, well, this is the second time. Well, we won't do that again. But he says, at least it's not that bad, because emergency room can happen to anyone, as opposed to the privacy of the other request was more intimate and revealing with that person's name. And I said, time. I said, it's not fair. My husband's deaf. This is a friend of ours. Their family was at my house yesterday. So it's a small community, and I'm thinking, should I go over there? What should I do? Of course, So you left in a conundrum. And I have to say this last one. I don't care, I'm going over time, because beat me up later. There was a request for someone looking for an interpreter for a deafblind individual, and they called me and said, we heard that you have experience with deafblind people interpreting. And I said, yes. Come to find out later, he had called several people that had no experience with deafblind interpreting at all. Then they called me, and I said, yes, I do. And I said, well, what's the situation? Is this person tactile? Is this person low vision? Is this person, all these questions. He said, I don't know what those words mean. What's that? And I had to say, have you heard of Helen Keller? This job does not belong with these people. They're hurting the community. And enough is enough. That's how I feel. Thank you. And this morning, I went to an appointment and saw this in somebody's office. I was so upset. the language bank with this, all these pretty hand pictures of interpreter signs, and I have to tell you that it says here, a professional sign language interpreter service designed to meet the needs of professionals. Exactly that, meeting the needs of professionals. And it goes on and on.